6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Dilini Gunawadana and read by Geethanjali Ramnayaka. The headlines. China and Sri Lanka are to further strengthen ties in economic, trade and cultural fields. State Minister Shehan Semasinga says that the Appropriation Bill 2024 would enable building up an empowered national economy. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawadana says that 2024 will mark the beginning of the golden era of SLTB. Former MP Professor Ashu Marasinghe says that the prospective state revenue for 2023 is 3,415 billion rupees. In foreign news, the UNICEF chief says that the world can't lose sight of abducted children in Palestine. Sports tennis. Novak Djokovic beats Yannick Sinner to win ATP Finals 2023. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said there is vast potential for further expansion of economic cooperation between China and Sri Lanka highly values China's continuous support to the country. He made these remarks when Chinese President Xi Jinping's special envoy and state councillor Shen Yeking met him at the Temple Trees in Colombo today. The Prime Minister added that Sri Lanka would welcome public and private investments from China as well as investments in agriculture for production and export, renewable energy, IT, education and infrastructure development. China's support has given confidence not only to Sri Lanka but also to other lending countries and international agencies to assist Sri Lanka's process of debt restructuring. Special Envoy Yen Yeking said China considered Sri Lanka a close, long-standing friend and is looking forward to expand investments in new projects such as Colombo Port City, Hambantota Port, poverty alleviation programs, education and agriculture. She said China is happy to see the progress made by Sri Lanka to overcome difficulties and assured China's continuous support to the efforts to meet the economic challenges. State Minister Shehan Semasinga says that the Appropriation Bill 2024 would enable building up an empowered national economy. The suggestions made for the year 2023 resulted in a stabilized economy. State Minister Semasinga made these remarks at the inaugural conference of the conference series held on the budget at the Ministry of Finance this evening. The government is paying much attention towards local debt optimization. Discussions in this regard are currently underway. The minister expressed hope that a final agreement on local debt optimization would be reached expeditiously. A project to expand the production capacity of the Ampara Tyre Factory under the SLTB Revival Program commenced under the leadership of Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawadana with the aim of strengthening new development strategies. The foundation stone of the new factory building was laid by the minister in the hope of expanding the production capacity of the institute. Addressing the gathering, the minister said that 2024 will mark the beginning of the golden era of the SLTB. 120 billion rupees will be spent on this project carried out by the State Development and Construction Corporation. 1/3 of the annual demand of tyres of the SLTB will be manufactured in this factory in the future. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. A special discussion on the measures to be taken to reduce the elephant menace, which has been affecting many areas of Polonnaruwa district, was held today at the Polonnaruwa District Secretariat Auditorium. The discussion was chaired by the Minister of Wildlife and Forest Resources Conservation, Pavitra Wanyarachi. The minister gave instructions to the officials, including the Director General, that short and long-term solutions should be implemented to solve the human-elephant conflict, and for that the Wildlife and Forest Conservation Department should act promptly. The minister also emphasized that the increase in both human and elephant population is a severe challenge for an island like Sri Lanka with just limited land. Former MP Professor Ashu Marasinghe says that it is expected to collect state revenue of 3,415 billion rupees by the end of 2023. He said this while speaking at a press conference held at the party headquarters at Sirikota this morning. The Inland Revenue Department, Sri Lanka Customs and Excise Department are primarily responsible for revenue collection. Collaborative work of these three institutions will result in increase in the state revenue. Also, the IMF has given a target of 11% of the country's government revenue. He further stated that our country has been able to get a state income of 10.3% and it can be further increased in the future. Also, by the end of this year, government expenditure can be maintained less than the government income. This will be helpful to restore the economy in 2024. He appreciated the measures followed by President Ranil Wickremesinghe in this regard. And that ends local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala.
In the main news story, the Pothuil sub-depot belonging to Ceylon Transport Board, which operated as a sub-depot under the Akkarepattu depot since 2005, was turned into a main depot, and the foundation stone for the modernization of the depot was presided over by Minister of Transport, Highways and Mass Media, Dr. Bandula Gunawardena. The aim of this project is to further streamline and expand public passenger transport services by combining Pothuil and Arugambe tourism zones. The Pothuil sub-depot, which is operated as a sub-depot under the Akkarepattu main depot, will henceforth function as a main depot, providing more comprehensive services to the people. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala.
On to Washlight. Mrs. Nimalka Panilahetti, Community Medicine Specialist of the National Dengue Control Unit, said that the number of dengue patients across the country has increased to 72,840. The highest number of patients are reported from the Western Province, and the amount is 34,645. That is 47.5% of the total number of dengue-infected patients. 45 dengue high-risk zones have been identified in this island so far. In order to reduce the spread of dengue, the public is requested to take measures to keep the environment clean during this rainy season. And that came to you in Watchlight. Moving on to world news in the headlines. The UNICEF says that the world can't lose sight of the abducted children. Japan condemns Yemen's Houthi rebels' hijack of cargo ship in Red Sea. And wildfires endanger wildlife in Brazil's Pantanal wetlands. The head of UNICEF, Catherine Russell, has been to Gaza last week. Speaking on a visit, she said the scale and pace of death and injury has been most shocking, and one death of a child is too many. She further said that the UN is going to have to make the Gaza Strip livable again, adding that it is important not to lose sight of the children who were abducted from Israel by Hamas on 7th of October. She also expressed hope that at some point these children will be released and be able to return to their families, although no much progress has been achieved in this regard yet. Japan has strongly condemned the hijacking of Japanese-operated cargo ship Galaxy Leader in the Red Sea by Iran-backed Houthi rebels. The Yemeni militia claimed the vessel was Israeli, but a Japanese government spokesperson said the carrier was operated by Nippon Yuze. Japan's chief cabinet secretary said it is working towards its release. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu blamed Iran, which backs the Houthi militia, for the hijacking. 22 people are believed to be on board the vessel, which is thought to be British-owned. The Pantanal wetlands in western Brazil, famed as paradise biodiversity, is being devoured by raging wildfires. Known for its lush landscapes and vibrant wildlife, the Pantanal is home to the world's biggest tropical wetlands and in normal times a thriving eco-tourism industry. But in recent weeks it has been ravaged by fires that are threatening its iconic wildlife as Brazil suffers through a southern hemisphere spring of droughts and record heat. According to satellite monitoring by Brazilian Space Research Agency, there were 2,387 fires in the first 13 days of November. This is an increase of over 1,000% from the entire month of November last year. Back to the headlines of the world news. The UNICEF chief says that the world can't lose sight of the abducted children. Japan condemns Yemen's Houthi rebels' hijack of cargo ship in Red Sea. And wildfires endanger wildlife in Brazil's Pantanal wetlands. And that ends World News.
Development News.
A discussion took place at the Presidential Secretariat chaired by Mr. Sagala Ratnayaka, Senior Advisor to the President on National Security and Chief of Presidential Staff, with representatives from the Asian Development Bank. The focus of this meeting centered on the upcoming water supply sector reforms program in Sri Lanka, which is set to be implemented through financial assistance from the Asian Development Bank. The deliberations primarily addressed the policy planning and monitoring framework integral to the proposed reform program. The key objectives of these reforms revolve around enhancing the management of climate-resilient, safe and environmentally sustainable water supply systems. And that was Development News.
Moving on with sports news.
Novak Djokovic won a record 7th ATP Finals title with a dominant victory over Jannik Sinner that marked another milestone in his memorable season. Djokovic, who lost to the Italian in the group stage, avenged that with 6-3, 6-3 win in Turin, Italy. He has set records in ranking titles this year and played some of his best tennis against youngsters like Sinner, trying to challenge him. World number 1 Djokovic had been tied with Roger Federer on 6 ATP final title wins, but it was clear from the outset in Sunday's final that he was hungry to take the outright record. And that was sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Kahawatha Plantations last week announced that its Andan Special BOP1 tea has been highly commended at the renowned Leafies International Tea Academy Award 2023. This award serves as a testament to Kahawatha Plantations' enduring commitment to producing exceptional teas and fostering sustainability. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න as වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, together with Department of Agriculture and the Mahaweli Authority of Sri Lanka, with funding from European Union, recently launched a Farmer Field Schools program to train 6,000 smallholder paddy farmers across 4 key rice-growing districts on sustainable approaches to paddy cultivation. The 6,000 farmers from Ampara, Badulla, Hamadra, Polonnaruwa districts will be trained by Agriculture Extension officers on applying the integrated plant nutrient management approach in their paddy cultivation to promote the efficient use of fertilizers, water and other inputs. And that was economic news.
Weather report.
Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in most provinces of the island. Fairly heavy showers, about 75 millimeters, are likely at some places in the central, Sabragama, northwestern and Uva provinces. Showers may occur at some places in the northern and eastern provinces during the morning. And that was the weather report. Prior to concluding this news broadcast, the headlines again. China and Sri Lanka are to further strengthen ties in economic, trade and cultural fields. State Minister Shehan Semasinga says that the Appropriation Bill 2024 would enable building up an empowered national economy. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says that 2024 will mark the beginning of the golden era of SLTB. Former MP Professor Ashu Marasinghe says that the prospective state revenue for 2023 is 3,415 billion rupees. Foreign news. The UNICEF's chief says that the world can't lose sight of abducted children in Palestine. Sports tennis. Novak Djokovic beats Yannick Sinner to win the ATP Finals 2023. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation and handing over the microphone back to Marila Vandot to keep you company this Monday evening. Over to you, Marila.
Thank you, Geethanjali. That was Geethanjali Ramanayaka bringing you the main news broadcast right here from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Wishing you nothing but the best and have a safe journey back home. The time goes on to exactly 30 minutes past 6. This is Radio Sri Lanka.